First of all, Agil,
Ya,
halo Agil.
ya hadir. Langsung aja ya. The yo-yo effect in Indonesia occurred in Bali, namely tourism conditions that went up and down during the pandemic. Tourist visits in Bali were very high before the COVID-19 pandemic. Then, when the pandemic emerged, tourism conditions in Bali changed rapidly from what was initially crowded with tourists. The situation changed rapidly. Then, the government made a policy whose goal was to make Bali tourism bustling again, namely by holding a free staycation. With that Polish Bali tourism began to get busy again as before the pandemic, but it turns out that this has actually made the corona case back up, and finally Bali was locked again.
Okay, I will uh, melanjutkan presentation from Agil. So the first aspect is politic. According to Agil, tourist visit in Bali were very high before the COVID-19 pandemic. But when the pandemic emerged, tourist conditions in Bali changed rapidly. Then the government made a policy free staycation in Bali to make Bali tourism bustling again. With that policy, Bali tourism began to get busy again as before the pandemic. And the next aspect is economy. When the most tourists visit destination in Bali, government can get money from tourist sector. I mean APBD. But when the less tourists visit destination in Bali, the APBD decrease from the tourism sector. When the tourism is promoted again, Bali tourism bustling again. So the last aspect is psychology. Before the pandemic, people brave to travel to Bali. Then during the pandemic, people is afraid to travel. But when there is a free staycation policy, they be brave to travel again. So it's all from me. The next will be next by Wahyu or Dava maybe.
Okay, thanks, Davana. Now I'm going to talk about on the global scale. The destination that we choose is Disneyland. So the cause of the yo-yo effect at Disneyland is the lockdown policy during the COVID pandemic, which is initially crowded the tourists, then quiet. However, there are four aspects that influence the. Sorry, I forgot to turn on my video. So, which is initially crowded tourists, then quiet. However, there are four aspects that influence the lockdown policy to then increase the number of returning tourist visits. Based on of these four aspects, next slide. The fourth aspect is the first point is the government policy of changing this behavior because of government policies that are pressured by World Health Organization to limit physical contact in this area. And the second point is the health aspect, the application of standard health protocols by anyone at the destination to avoid the spread of the COVID-19 virus. The next presentation will be presented by Wahyu.
Okay, thank you, Dava. I will continue by Dava. The third aspect is the economic side, which involves reopening tourism with health protocols in order to rehabilitate or boost the economy in the tourism sector. And finally, there is the psychological side, which individual are bored and work at home, so traveling is a requirement for recharging during the pandemic. The conclusion, the yo-yo effect, which happens primarily as a result of the lockdown strategy and is accompanied by policy provision in tourism location, especially Disneyland. during the COVID-19 pandemic. That's all from our presentation. Thank you for your time and attention.
Well, thank you so much, Agil, Davana, Dafa, and also Wahyu, who have just presented the issues on yo-yo effect in Bali and also in Disneyland. Well, first of all, I would like to correct some of the mispronunciation because Davana kept saying it. Davana, kebijakan itu bukan policy ya, it's pronounced policy. Itu yang pertama. And then number two, sometimes we're confused of misalnya begini, Wahyu. Can you turn on your audio? Hi Wahyu, can you okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Wahyu, do you know the difference between economy, economics, economy, economical, and economic?
I don't know, sir.
Okay. Does anybody, Nadifa, do you know the difference? Economy, economics, economical, and economic.
I think economic. I don't remember which one for which, but
Okay.
some is for major, like economic major. Some is for the current financial condition and stuff like that, I guess.
All right. Yeah, let me remind all of you then. Kalau misalnya kita bilang economy, itu memang untuk kondisi ekonomi. Kondisi ekonomi Indonesia saat ini. The economy of Indonesia dan lain sebagainya. When you say economics with an S, itu adalah ilmunya atau major tadi yang dibilang. Jurusan apa? Ilmu ekonomi. I am an economics student. I'm a student major in economics. Kalau economic tanpa S, itu artinya dari aspek ekonomi. Jadi from economic aspect, dari aspek ekonomi itu sedang menjadi adjektif kalau istilah grammarnya. Itu from economic. Kalau economical itu hemat artinya. Okay, so don't be confused of those different things. Saya mau satu grup lagi deh sebelum kita before we proceed to today's activity. I want one more group to present their issue. Grup siapa ya ini karena random saya tunjuk secara random lagi juga, mudah-mudahan ini belum. Grupnya Anissa, Alda, Ababil sudah belum?
Belum, sir.
Alright, so could you please invite your team members to present the issue?
Oke, sir, sebentar. Maaf, udah kelihatan share screen-nya belum, sir?
Sudah.
Teman-teman, sebentar ya. Sebentar, sir.
Oke.
Oke. Mana sih, sebentar. Mana sih ini kalau mau ini? Sebentar, sir. Aduh, ya Allah. Panik, sebentar.
Don't panic. Just relax. Anissa.
Gini aja ya, sir, ya, nggak apa-apa ya PPT-nya.
Oke.
Oke. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning everyone. Good morning Mr. Umbat. We from group atau berapa sih yang begini. Let me introduce myself. My name is Anissa Alda Ababil and my friends is Ismail Rahdiansyah, Nadia Rahmaniar, and Vivi Alawiyah Sadili Putri. Okay, first I want to present about yo-yo effect in global. I want to present about social aspect in Saudi Arabia. First, Saudi Arabia becomes quieter than before pandemic, and two, Saudi Arabia changed a system organizing for pilgrim. Okay, since the pandemic, the condition of hotels and shops around the Kaaba is quite worrying. like other countries that have also been affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. Many hotels and shops located near the Grand Mosque are deserted and even abandoned by their owners. Sorry. And so
Anissa, relax, please.
panik sebentar. And to use a technology for help organize Hajj and in this pandemic. The implementation of the 2021 Hajj pilgrimage shows a massive adaptation to the pandemic, technology, and social condition. In addition to deploying officers, including women, Saudi Arabia has pledged a total of 20 robots in the Grand Mosque. This year, for the first time, Riyadh has assigned women as official to organize the Hajj at the Grand Mosque. Okay, next, Ismail Radiansyah.
Kalau ada suaranya.
Ada, tapi agak kecil, Mail.
Oh, audionya agak sedikit jelek sih, jadi
Oh iya sih,
saya
mendem.
coba semaksimal mungkin. Saudi Arabia, ini saya akan I will explain about economic aspect in Saudi Arabia. COVID-19 is reviving Saudi Arabia's economy, much of which relies on millions of low-skilled migrant workers from other Asian countries, many of whom live in densely populated and clean environments. In 2019, Saudi Arabia began to promote domestic tourism very vigorously ahead of summer. When domestic flight resumed on May 31, 2020, momentum began to build ahead of the Eid al-Adha holiday in late July and continues into August, when the first cruise ship on the Saudi Red Sea coast set sail. Saudi authorities is restriction on international travel on 15 September 2020. However, all restriction will only be lifted in January 2021. Next,
Okay, Babil, next. Okay, in Bali, the impact of COVID-19 on social aspect in Bali is the first one is limiting community movement space. A new regulation from the government related to the prevention of COVID-19 make Bali people unable to carry out activity outside. And second, the tradition and culture cannot be realized. During this COVID pandemic outbreak, many tradition and culture in Bali were postponed to be held because they could invite the mass. An example is the prohibition of the tradition and culture of the ogoh-ogoh procession on the eve of Nyepi. And the last is limiting the tradition of gotong royong. Thank you.
Next, I want present economics aspect in Bali. Suaranya kedengaran ya? Okay. First, the decline in people's income in tourist villages. Second, causing an increase in the price of basic necessities in tourist village. And last, resulting in a decrease in the selling price of land in tourist village. COVID-19 has had a major impact on all aspects of life, including the tourism sector due to large trips and event trips for traveling abroad and within the country. to limit the spread of the COVID-19 pandemic and overcome the socioeconomic consequence not only for large scale companies but also for small and medium size enterprise atau UKM, usaha kecil menengah. Finish. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Group 11, for explaining the yo-yo effect either in Saudi Arabia or in Bali. One thing that I would like to correct is that the pronunciation of masjid is not pronounced mosque, it's actually mosque. Ya, emang agak aneh nanti pas nyamuk mosquito. Yeah, that's the beauty of English. Okay. All right, so in today's activity, I'm trying to accommodate what the study program has requested from me. So I'm going to show you one paper, one journal article. Allow me to share screen. All right, has anybody seen the paper?
Yes.
Okay. All right. The title of the paper is The Influence of Number of Passengers and Music Genre on Driving Speed of Young Adult Angkot Drivers. This is written by 4 people. Gurit Naningsih Asantoso, Dewi Maulina, Krista Aditya, and Tian Pau Owe from 2 different institutions. The third one, the first 3 authors, I think, are from University of Indonesia or UI. Faculty of Psychology, and Tian Po Oi, I believe, is from School of Psychology, University of Queensland, Australia. This is very interesting because the topic is very local. Ini ada kata-kata angkot di sini, ya, angkot drivers, supir angkot, dan yang dicek itu adalah pengaruh whether there is an influence between the number of passengers and music genre on driving speed of young adult angkot drivers. This is published in Transportation Research Part F Journal by Elsevier. If you see this logo and this name, Elsevier, this is actually one of the best publishers in the world. Kalau lihat pohon apel gravitasi Darwin ini Elsevier salah satu publisher terbaik di dunia. I think you've been familiar with the structure of a paper in which there is like this title, and then also they have this authorship line, and then abstract, and then introduction. I'm sorry, and then after that they have like the method. Wait a minute. Methods. Some of the papers have like the subsections after each section, and some of them don't. It actually depends on the journal itself, and then result, and then discussion, conclusion. Sometimes there is an acknowledgement, and it is usually closed by a section or a chapter called references. Now, what I really want you to do is that, wait. I'm going to share the paper on the chat room, and I want you guys to review the paper based on the following. Nah, sebenarnya nanti actually the main purpose of this activity is for you to be able to write using an academic language, an academic English, that is usually written or typed out on a journal article, just like what I'm going to show you later. But to be able to do that, I really want you to have like a good review on the paper so that you will be able to find out, you will be able to identify what types of words to use, what types of sentences to create, like for example in a paragraph. Jadi tolong nanti papernya akan saya share di chat room. Dan yang halus kalian identifikasi, yang pertama adalah purposes of the study. Why I put like the brackets there, because probably there is more than one purpose of the study. Yang kedua adalah metode yang digunakannya seperti apa. Yang ketiga adalah main results, hasilnya seperti apa. Yang keempat adalah conclusion. But I want you to be as elaborate as possible. Gimana misalnya? Misalnya begini. Yang pertama adalah purpose, tujuan. Tujuannya ada berapa poin? dan nanti diceritakan di mana kalian bisa menemukan tujuan tersebut dalam paper tersebut. Yang kedua adalah metode. Ketika membicarakan metode, itu kalian harus mampu menceritakan secara rinci. Misalnya desain penelitian apa yang digunakan. Ini kan kalian udah semester tinggi, jadi saya yakin sudah belajar mata kuliah metodologi penelitian dan statistik. What kind of research design is used? Is it quantitative? Is it qualitative? Is it mixed method, for example? And if there are any participants involved, who are they? Who are the participants involved in the study? And what kind of instruments they use to collect the data? Instrumen apa yang digunakan untuk mengambil datanya, dan bagaimana cara mereka menganalisis data. Otomatis, guys, automatically, when you are able to describe, to elaborate the method, you will be able to synchronize with the purpose. Kalau misalnya research purpose atau research questions atau research objective, apapun istilahnya tadi di papernya, ada 3 misalnya, kalian akan mampu menjawab research question 1 dijawab dengan instrumen yang mana, datanya apa, research question 2 dijawab dengan instrumen yang mana, datanya apa. Research question 3 dijawab dengan instrumen yang mana, datanya apa. And then main results, hasil utamanya seperti apa. Dan hasil utama itu, again, usually refer to the research questions or to the research purposes as well. Dan yang terakhir adalah kesimpulan. You can actually type your answers on the Microsoft Word if you are, for example, using a laptop right now. But if you're using your smartphone, you can actually type on like your notes. So first, I'm going to share the paper on the chat room. Sebentar. Oke, papernya sudah saya share. Saya kasih waktu 20 minutes. I'm going to give you 20 minutes to find out those 4 answers. Yang pertama di purpose of the study, tujuannya apa. Yang kedua adalah methods used, metode yang digunakannya apa, tapi se-elaborate mungkin. Yang ketiga adalah main results, hasil utamanya apa. Dan yang terakhir adalah conclusion. And your answer should be in your own English language. Your 20 minutes start now. You've got 5 more minutes, guys, to finish up your explanation about the paper. So it's your last 5 minutes. Make it worth it. All right. Guys, have you finished your work? Or do you need some more time? Please comment on the chat room. Have you finished it? Or do you think I should give you I give you like more time? Okay. 10 minutes, 10 more minutes, and this is the last time addition that I can give you. Okay. So your extra 10 minutes start now. Okay, everybody, our 10 minutes are over, and it's time for me to hear some of the conclusions, some of the review that you have made. But as usual, before I try to randomly pick some of you, I would like to give the honor of those who wants to volunteer to share their work. Adakah yang ingin dulu secara sukarela berbagi hasil tugas yang tadi terkait paper angkot? Anybody? Is there anybody or is there nobody? Okay, I think.
I want to try, sir.
Oh, sure. Shalma, please.
Okay. Okay, so hello everyone. This is the result that I got. Can you hear me,
Yeah,
sir?
loud and
Excuse me?
clear.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so the first one is the purpose of the study.
I'm sorry, Shalma, did you type or did you write something? You could share that with us.
Share,
Yeah.
okay. Okay. Is it clear?
Yeah, I think you need to zoom in a little bit.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Okay. So the first one is the purpose of the study. It was conducted to find the effect of the number of passengers, variety of music genre, and interaction between those two things on driving speed of young adult angkot drivers. Because the other studies that have been conducted did not explain about whether the number of passengers can influence driving behavior of angkot drivers or not, especially since the characteristics of passengers in private vehicles and public ones, in this case angkot, are different. So is the relationship between driver and passenger in angkot compared to the one in private vehicles because of the strictly business and a rather impersonal nature of the relationship in angkot. The next one is to fill the gap about how there has not been much research conducted about the influence of number of passengers on speeding and other driving behaviors on this variable. And no other research has been conducted to explore the impact of music genre on the driving behavior of angkot drivers. The method used, they had several participants, 60 young adult male angkot drivers operating in Depok, and they did a measurement measures and apparatus by measuring speed, observing the speedometer, and then from the boombox music player, and also from compact disc. And the last one is from questionnaire. And here are the main results. Driving behavior of young adult angkot drivers was significantly influenced by number of passengers in their vehicles because there's a significant main effect of number of passengers on driving speed of angkot drivers. And also music genre and the interaction between number of passengers had no significant effect on driving behavior. No main effect of music genre on driving speed. And also the pattern of driver's speed changes based on the number of passengers and time of speed recording. For example, angkot drivers focused more on searching for more passengers when there are only a few in the van. So the conclusion, there's a possibility that for angkot drivers who need to pay daily rental to their bosses and get additional money to take home for their daily needs, number of passengers is associated with income. And the study implies that a more secure source of income for young adult angkot drivers can encourage safer driving behavior because angkot drivers have the tendency to drive faster, sometimes even beyond legal speed, to get more income by increasing the number of passengers, or in other words, it's their survival needs that seem to become a priority in their job. That's all from me. Thank you.
Wow, Shalma, thank you so much. I think you deserve a big round of applause for such a thorough analysis of the paper. I have some questions for you. Number one, what do you think of the topic? What do you think of the topic of the research?
I think this is very interesting, especially since it's very specific about public transportation or angkot, and they even mentioned in Asia. It's pretty rare, and also because it's something that we usually see in our daily lives. Because when we use angkot for transportation, and this is something that we usually see.
Yeah. And what do you think? What do you think makes angkot more interesting than any other public transportation, especially ones in, like, for example, developed countries?
I think it's been mentioned here as well. Like, I agree because it's pretty complex as well, because angkot drivers have to focus on their source of income, so it pretty much affects how they see their behavior on their job. So yes, I think it'd be like there's a solution for it or something, because they have to pay rentals, their bosses, such thing like that.
All right. Well, I actually have a lot more questions, but allow me to invite two more of your friends to share their works. And then later we're going back to the paper. So you can stop sharing, Shelma. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah, well, next, who wants to volunteer in sharing their works on the review of the paper regarding the influence of number of passenger and music genre on driving speed behavior among young adult angkot drivers? Anybody? Okay, if there's nobody, I'm going to just pick.
I want to try.
Oh, sure, please. Ngilang lagi. Okay, Saragi, Clara, please.
Boleh share screen kan?
Sure.
Bentar, Sar.
Okay, take your time.
Kayaknya nggak bisa share screen, Sir, soalnya dari handphone, jadi dibaca aja nggak apa-apa.
Okay, it's okay. That's all right, Clara.
Okay, for the purpose of the paper is to examine the effects of the number of the passenger, the variety of music genre, and the interaction between them on the driving speed of young adult angkot driver. For the methods of this paper is qualitative methods with data from 60 young adults male angkot driver in Depok area, age 21 and to 35 years old, and have driven for 4 years and driving angkot for 5 days in a week for 1 year prior time of the study. The measures that used to analyze the topics are speedometer inside the angkot, music player, and compact disc. And the main result, the first one is the number of the passengers showed a significant effects on the driving speed of angkot, and the driving speed of high passenger group is more higher than the driving speed of low passenger group. The second result is there's no effect on the music genre of the driving speed. The driver who listen to dangdut music and driver who listen to rock music has a same driving speed. The third one is the number of passenger doesn't make a significant effect on the driving speed of angkot. And the last result is the pattern of the driver's speed changes based on the number of passenger and time of speed recording. And last, the conclusion is young angkot driver must be drive faster as an effort to fulfill their primary needs and also to pay the daily rental of angkot minivans. The number of the passenger that will make income to them make the young angkot driver usually drive unsafely to avoid losing their income. And to change the those behavior, there must be an implication of ensure a more secure source of income for the angkot driver, such as replacing the daily rental system into salary-based payment. Maybe that's all for me.
Wow, thank you so much, Clara, for such a great explanation. I'm actually interested in your explanation regarding the research method. You said that it was a qualitative research method, right? Am I right? Hello, Clara.
Yes.
Okay, so why did you
Hello?
think? Yeah, can you hear my voice?
Yes.
Okay, so why did you think it was a qualitative method?
Can I answer it in bahasa?
Sure.
Oke, menurut saya kualitatif karena itu dihitungnya ada perhitungan-perhitungan yang dibikin sebagai standar-standar datanya gitu. Kan kalau misalnya kualitatif kan itu berdasarkan hasil wawancara atau hanya analisa lapangan aja. Nah, kalau kuantitatif kan itu ada data-data yang dihitungnya gitu, Sar. Jadi menurut saya ini pakainya kuantitatif aja.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Clara. We're going to discuss that later, more about it later. Next, last chance for the volunteer.
Me.
Oh, sure.
Try.
Sure, Ude.
Okay. May I share screen the word?
Yes, of course.
Okay, wait. Okay, wait.
Itu ada suara apa udah duk-dukan?
Oh, I don't know. I can share the presentation.
Why? Are you using a laptop or?
I'm using the laptop, but the settings not allow me to share the.
All right. So who's the host?
No, this is because my laptop.
All
because
right.
I haven't changed the settings.
All right then. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead without sharing any screen.
Okay, sorry, sir.
That's all right.
So for the purposes of the study, the aim of the study, the current study was to examine the effect of the number of passengers, variety of music genre, and the interaction between these two variables on driving speed in young adult angkot drivers in Indonesia. Most of the studies discussed previously have individually examined the influence of number of passengers on driving behavior and the effects of music on driving behavior. No specific study has addressed the combined influence of the number of passengers and music genre on driving speed, in particular in Asia. Researchers chose angkots because it became the main interest of the current study due to the expectation that the drivers, passengers, and the driver-passenger interaction in angkot vehicles will possess different characteristics compared to those private vehicles. And the methods, in my point of view, this study are using mixed methods in this study because researchers collected data by qualitative and quantitative data. Researchers addressed the questionnaire to interview the participants comprised of 9 questions with the concern of the influence of number of passengers and music genre on their driving behavior. was administered to each participant. As many as 60 young adult male angkot drivers operating in the Depok area, a city on the outskirts of Jakarta, Indonesia, participated in the study. The measurements in this study are speedometer inside the angkot, boombox music player, and compact disc. Researchers also prepared the procedure such as preparation phase and experimental phase to observe and survey. The researchers debriefed the drivers and asked if they were willing to participate in this study. Informed consent was handed out and signed only after the experiment ended to ensure the drivers behaved naturally while the experiment was taking place. And then a two number of passengers X to music genre factorial design was used to analyze the data on driving speed. Preliminary variables that might influence the driving behavior, namely age and length of driving experiment, as well as marital status. For the main results, the results of this study showed that driving behavior of young adult angkot drivers was significantly influenced by the number of passengers in their vehicles, music genre, and the interaction between the number of passengers and music genre had no significant effect on driving behavior. There is a possibility that for angkot drivers who need to pay the daily rental of the angkot minivans to their bosses and to get additional money to take home for the daily needs, the number of passengers is associated with the income. The study implies that severe driving behavior among young adult angkot drivers can be encouraged after efforts to ensure a more secure source of income for them are made. And lastly, the conclusion is angkot drivers' tendency to drive faster, sometimes going beyond the legal speed, is likely related to their efforts to get more income to fulfill their primary needs by increasing the number of passengers carried in one day. Considering that the number of passengers is closely linked to income generation, it seems predictable that angkot drivers would be more likely to drive in their own way, even frequently exhibiting unsafe driving behavior to avoid losing their income. Young adult angkot drivers' survival needs seem to become a priority in their job. The implications of the present studies suggest that safer driving behaviors can only be encouraged after efforts are made to ensure a more secure source of income for the angkot drivers, for example, by replacing the daily rental system of the angkot minivans with salary-based payments of the drivers. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Udah tarik nafas dulu. I think you seem tired of reading all the presentations. I have one question for you that is very interesting. You said that it is a combination between qualitative and quantitative research methods, right? Can you show me which ones are the qualitative data and which ones are the quantitative data from the research?
I think after reading the journal, the part when the data the researchers got from the interview are the qualitative data, and when the data the researcher got from the experiment, and after that the researchers mengolah itu menjadi
sebuah adonan
menjadi kuantitatif data, menjadi hitung-hitungan, menjadi angka. That's the part of the quantitative data.
Okay, thank you so much, Ude. Now I have questions to Jack Farrell. Hi, Jack. Are you there? Okay, I think signal problem. So I'm going to go back to Shelma then. Shelma?
Yes, sir.
So if you break it down like all the purposes of the study or the aims of the study, how many objectives of the study in that paper?
I'm sorry, I don't really understand the question, sir.
Okay. According to your analysis,
yes.
How many purposes does the study have?
Oh, okay. Well, to be honest, actually, I just tried to collect what I saw from the paper, but in the abstract, it was only like 1, but I wrote 4.
Okay, so which one is it? Is it 5 because it's 1 plus 4?
I think it's 3.
3, and what are they? Number 1.
3 maybe.
All right, Clara, do you agree? Do you agree that the paper has 3 research purposes? Clara, are you there?
Sir.
Okay, yeah. What are they?
Yes. Hello.
Yes, and what are they?
Wait. Examine the effects of the number of the passengers
Okay.
to the driving speed. The second one is the variety of the music genre to the driving speed. And the last one is both of the effects of the number and of the passenger and the variety of music genre to the driving speed.
Perfect, because statements on the abstract, they can actually be tricky. They can actually be tricky because they combine like all the 3 purposes into one sentence, right? To examine the influence of the number of the passenger, variety of music genre, and the combination of both. It means that you actually need 3 types of measurements. That's why the design is 2 times 2 vectorial design, because they need to combine all the 2 factors, which are the number of the passengers and also the music genre, into the variable y. Let's say the variable x's are those 2, and then the variable y is the driving speed behaviors of the young adult angkot drivers. Well, next question is that, Ude, where can you find the research purpose in that paper? In which part, in which section?
In the abstract itself, the conclusion of the purpose of the study was shown, and after that there is a part of the aim of the study. So
where?
In 1.3 in 1.3 the aim of the study.
Okay, that's very good. So it is very common, ladies and gentlemen. Rasmi banget. So guys, it is very common in a paper that first everything is actually highlighted on the abstract. First, you can see the purpose, you can see the method, you can see the main results, you can see the conclusion, and sometimes there is like research background. Why this study is important, all of the abstract. However, all those things are just the highlight, because the abstract is just the miniature of a building. So if you want to find out more, you have to critically analyze section by section. Like for example, the purpose or the objectives or the aims of the study, it is usually written on the introduction section, usually at the end of the part, at the end of the section. Sometimes it is in statements, sometimes they are in questions, or what we call research questions, because research questions and research purposes are actually are actually the same things, two similar things. And of course, the other explanation, the other elaborate explanations are on each section. They have their own method section, results section. Sometimes the results and discussions are combined. Sometimes it comes in different sections, and also conclusion. So you can find the more specific, descriptive, analytic explanations in each section. And now I'm going to ask siapa ya? I'm going to ask, wait a minute. I'm going to ask, oh, it keeps changing. Angga Kahairul, are you there?
Yes, I'm here, sir.
Okay. So Angga, in your opinion, after you read the article, what is the originality of the research, especially compared to the previous research? Because the authors have mentioned that there were some previous works studying on the driving behaviors in relation to the number of passengers and also in relations to the music genre. So what do you think is new? What do you think is original about this study?
I think the researcher is mentioned in the aim of the study, and the researcher felt there is no specific study has addressed to the combined influence of the number of passenger and music genre on driving speed, in particular in Asia. So I think there's no research about this in Asia, maybe about that.
Okay, well, yeah, that's great. Thank you so much, Angga. Next, I'm going to ask Rizky Ramadan. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here, sir.
Okay, can you tell me how the researchers collect the data regarding the speed, the driver's speed, yeah, the driver speed behavior?
All right. So the researcher look at the speedometer inside the angkot. So that's how the researcher get the data.
Okay, and can you please also tell me in like a procedural way how they compare how they compare the speeding behavior based on the music genre that they have and also based on the number of passengers that they have?
Sorry, sir. Would you mind to repeat again?
Oh, sure. Can you tell me how they compare the driving behavior based on two different music genres and based on different numbers of passengers in each angkot?
All right. So when the researcher, how to compare? Let me repeat your question.
Sure, sure.
So how can the researcher compare about the driver and the music genre and the driver and with passengers on
Yes,
the angkot?
exactly.
Yes. All right. So the researchers wait. I'm blank. I'm blank. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Take your time.
All right. So when the researcher comparing about the passengers and I mean I don't know that all of that variable it's look from speedometer I think.
Okay.
When the variable about the driving speed, I don't know how to they're comparing about those of two.
At
Sorry,
least,
sir.
do you know how did they do that?
They do about the driver's speed. Do you mean?
Yeah, I mean,
Driving
how did
speed?
they? Because the purpose is to find out whether there is influence between number of passengers, music genre to driving behaviors, right? How did they do that? Do you think? How did they try to find out whether there is a difference? Because earlier, three of your friends, they mentioned something about measurements. They mentioned something about apparatus, something
Oh,
about, yeah.
all right. There is one instrument that the researcher use questionnaires, sir.
Right. Okay. Thank you so much, Rizky. Yeah, I have no more questions for you. Well, Agit Dwi Saputra. Hi, Agit. Are you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Can you please help Rizky to answer my questions? How is the procedure of the research?
Bentar, sir.
Okay. Whenever you're ready, Agit.
Guys. Nah, ini aku yang lihat guys. Ini dari pertama pilih.
Yes, sir.
Okay, could you please tell us what you got?
In my opinion, the song for each passenger group was divided such that half of each passenger group received dangdut music and
Okay.
the other half listened to rock music. Terus, bentar, sir. Let's see. Music. Thus, each group of participants receive different treatment. What data was collected for the low passenger group one day, in which the music genre was given based on the contrabalancing principle. Dangdut music for one angkot, then followed by rock music for the next angkot. In the following day, data was collected for the high passenger group with the same music treatment as the low passenger group, with another data collection for the low passenger group the next day, followed by data collection for the high passenger group the day after, and so forth. This counterbalancing procedure was done to control the complexity of choosing the angkot that were eligible to be included in the sample. Gitu, sir. Aduh, maaf.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Agit. Wait a minute, guys. I need to make something. All right. Well, thank you so much. Earlier, I had an intention of discussing the content of the paper more deeply, more in depth today, but I think it's better for you to have like your own discussion. So I think I'm going to give you a task. Allow me to share screen. Bukan. Okay, can anyone see the screen that I'm sharing?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Jadi begini, guys. The task is you have to repeat your own analysis about that paper on Angkot using this table. Number one, it's the number. Number two is reference. You have to use the APA referencing style, American Psychological Association. You can actually find it on the Google Scholar to make it easier. So you type the title of the article and then you type cite and then you find the style of the referencing style of the APA. And then the next column is about the purpose stated here and also about the method, what kind of method used, and then the research procedure. You have to tell how the research was conducted, how the research was carried out, and then the main results, and then the conclusion. Number one, it has to be the paper about Angkot. And then number two, the paper, it has to be any paper on tourism studies with qualitative method. And then number 3, it has to be with quantitative. And then last one, it has to be with mixed method. So you have to find 3 more papers on tourism studies, but with 3 different methods. The first one is one employing qualitative method. The second one is one employing quantitative method. And then the last one is one combining both of the methods, qualitative and quantitative. Not only do you have to fill in this table columns elaborately, but you have to also download all the papers. Kalau yang paper angkot tadi kan sudah saya share. Nah, yang 3 ini you have to download them, and then later you have to submit it to Jack or Farrell as usual on a Google Drive link so that I can see it and we can discuss it later next week. So the assignments is due. Let me check the calendar. The assignment is due next Monday, November 15th, so that on November 16th, I'm going to be able to have reviews of some of the tables. So do you have any questions about the task? I believe everything is clear, right? Later, when I think that you, okay, I'm going to stop sharing. Later, when I see you, when I believe that you are capable of reviewing journal articles, we're going to practice on how to make effective sentences based on academic context, just like what the research articles you would be reading. All right. So if there is no more questions, I think this is the end of our session for today. Don't forget to do the homework, because now we're shifting from the oral or spoken English. Oh, Uday, please.
Sir, sorry, I want to make sure. So we search 3 journals with
Yes.
qualitative, quantitative, and what's one?
Mixed methods. Yeah.
Okay, so 3 journals, right?
Yes, 3 more journals.
Okay.
3 more journal articles.
Thank you.
You're very welcome, Uday. Any other questions, guys?
Sir, I have a question.
Yes, Angga, please.
I want to make sure about this paper about the influence of number of passenger and music genre. The exact method is mixed method, right, or quantitative method, sir?
I'm not going to answer that right now. It's going to be the discussion for next week.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I'm sorry. Yeah, I want you to be able to identify the method based on what you read first, and then later next week we're going to discuss in details about research methods and everything. Okay, Angga. So I'm really sorry I cannot answer your question right today. Any other questions, guys? Okay. If there is no more question, once again, thank you so much for today. Looking forward to seeing you and discussing with you regarding the 4 papers, 1 the Angkot paper and 3 more papers that you're going to download by yourselves, and to discuss in details, and later to identify the types of English in the academic written context. And later we're going to practice on how to formulate or compose effective sentences within the academic context. So thank you so much for today. Looking forward once again to seeing you next week, inshallah. Stay safe and stay healthy, everyone. Bye-bye. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Yeah, thank you, you too, guys.